It's a great day to be in real estate. This is Duanebeisner, sales manager and sales representative for ERA Real Estate. It's been a few days since I've done a video. Thanks for joining me again. For the quote of the day, perseverance has been defined as sticking to something you're not stuck on. Think about that. And for the joke of the day, a beginner rider at the stables was trying to saddle a horse. "Excuse me," said the old hand, "but you're putting that saddle on backwards." "How do you know?" snapped the student. "You don't know which way I'm going." And for the business tip of the day, we are where we are today as a result of how we thought about ourselves yesterday. Think about that one also. And for the Darwin Award of the day, a Catholic priest ascended to heaven on a helium host of party balloons, paying homage to Lawn Chair Larry's aerial adventure. You may remember in 1982, Lawn Chair Larry attached 45 weather balloons to his lawn chair, packed a picnic lunch, and cut the tether, but instead of drifting above Los Angeles as planned, he was rocketed into LAX air traffic lanes by the lift of the balloons. Astoundingly, Larry survived the flight, inspiring the movies Up and Deck Chair Danny, and also the person that we're talking about today, Adelier Antonio, who is 51. This priest's audacious attempt to set a world record for a cluster balloon flight was intended to publicize his plan to build spiritual rest stops for truckers. But as truckers know, sitting for 19 hours is not a trivial matter, even in the comfort of your own lawn chair. The priest did take numerous precautions, including wearing a survival suit, buying or flying a buoyant chair, and packing a satellite phone and GPS. However, the late AA made a fatal mistake. He did not know how to use the GPS. The winds changed, as winds do, and he was blown in basically towards the open sea. He could have parachuted to safety while over the land, but chose not to. When the Voyager was perilously lost at sea, he finally phoned for help, but the rescuers were unable to determine his location since he could not use his GPS. He struggled with the unit as the charge on his cell phone dwindled and died. Over the next few weeks, bits of balloons began to appear on mountains and beaches, indicating that God had guided him straight to heaven. Ultimately, the priest's body surfaced, confirming that he had indeed paid a visit to his boss. So, for the social commentary, reason why I was off a couple days last week, my son and I did go to Comic-Con and actually survived it. Over 100,000 people that descended on San Diego. We had the opportunity to attend many great panels with some of the celebrities, including Will Ferrell and Seth Rogen, who is the new Green Hornet in the upcoming movie. I'll be posting some photos soon. But what I want to talk about was sanctuary cities becoming the new target in the immigration debate. Opponents of the Justice Department's lawsuit challenging the enforcement of Arizona's controversial illegal immigration law have hit upon a strategy to highlight what they contend is a gaping inconsistency in the Justice Department's policy priorities. Why should federal attorneys be targeting the Arizona law as an alleged obstacle to coherent and centralized enforcement of federal immigration statutes, they argue, while justice officials have done nothing to challenge the legal status of so-called sanctuary cities, which effectively block the enforcement of that same federal law. The Justice Department has asked a federal judge in Phoenix to stop Arizona's law from going into effect this Thursday, tomorrow, arguing that the measure interferes with the federal immigration policy. But critics, including California GOP Republican Duncan Hunter and Arizona Governor Jan Buer, are challenging the logic of the justice's move, arguing that if the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder really cared about enforcing federal immigration law, he should be targeting the sanctuary cities instead of Arizona. Makes good sense to me. More than 30 cities, including San Francisco, our own Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Denver, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Dallas have local ordinances on the books that prevent police from asking about a person's immigration status. The Arizona law would allow officers to question a person's immigration status and report them to federal authorities if that person is believed to be in the country illegally. The crackdown could prompt illegal immigrants to seek refuge out of Arizona and into those sanctuary cities. Oh, goody. Since we're on that list, that'll be a fun thing to have happen in the near future. A Justice Department official told the Washington Times there is nothing hypocritical about the government going after Arizona while ignoring sanctuary cities, and suggested it won't step up enforcement. Yep, sounds like the government we got. Administration officials say they want to seek and deport criminal immigrants. Indeed, a recent Washington Post report found that deportation of illegal immigrants has spiked significantly under the Obama administration. Interesting to note, I did hear something earlier today that Sheriff Joe Aparo, who you probably have all heard of in Arizona, is actually responsible for over 25% of all the deportees in the entire nation. So it's not Obama's credit, it's Sheriff Joe that's doing it. But federal officials insist they don't have the capability or resources to remove the hundreds of thousands of immigrants who haven't had run-ins with the police. There's a big difference between a state or locality saying that they're not going to use their resources to enforce the federal law, as a so-called sanctuary city has done, and a state passing its own immigration policy that actively interferes with federal law. Justice Department spokesman Tracy Schlammer told the Times Stephen Dinan and Karen Rowland. That's what Arizona did in this case. But even if Arizona's law goes into effect on schedule on this July 29th, the debate over sanctuary cities, which sprouted up mainly in the 1980s to give refuge to exiles from El Salvador's deadly civil war, is hardly over. Hunter is sponsoring legislation in Congress that would force the Justice Department to crack down on cities that don't enforce immigration laws, though it's not likely to come to a vote before next year. And for real estate news, the headline, U.S. homeownership rates fall to lowest level since 1999. The nation's foreclosure crisis and economic pressures such as rising unemployment continue to batter the U.S. housing market, as evidenced by the latest figures from the Census Bureau on homeownership rates. Data released by the federal agency Tuesday shows that the U.S. homeownership rate has dropped to 69.9% during the second quarter of this year, hitting its lowest mark in more than 10 years. Census Bureau reports that approximately 85.6% of the housing units in the United States last quarter were occupied. Owner-occupied homes made up 57.3% of the total housing units, while renter-occupied units made up 28.3% of the inventory. Number of homes sitting empty during the second quarter, including foreclosures and residences for sale, as well as the vacation homes, claimed 14.4% of the nation's total housing stock. Vacant properties rose from 18.6 million in the second quarter of 2009 to 18.9 million in the second quarter of 2010, according to Census Bureau report. As the homeownership rates continue its slide and turmoil in the market has many would-be buyers questioning the soundness of sinking their money into a home, apartment landlords are experiencing a surge in rental activity. A separate report released by a market analytics firm showed that 215,000 previously empty apartment units in the largest U.S. markets became occupied during the first half of the year. So, I guess good news, bad news scenario. The company says that 6-month figure is nearly double the number of units that were filled during the full 2009 year and the highest mid-year tally since the firm began tracking the apartment occupancy statistics in 1992. The firm found that the apartment vacancy rate fell to 6.6% at the end of June, down from 8.2% last December. So real quickly, remember, this is the best buyer's market you and I will ever see. If you're thinking about making a move, give us a call here at ARA. We'd love to talk to you. This is Duane signing off. Happy trails to you. As always, proud to be an American. Thank you for watching.